I was playing hide and seek with some friends of mine, and I guess I lost track of the time.
Hide and seek? And where are your friends right now?
Most dubs of anime are bad, and Isekai is no exception when it comes to this, or does it? In my previous tier list video, I ranked a bunch of dubbed Isekai anime on tier maker, and it seems a lot of you enjoyed that. So because of that, I am back once again to rate more dubbed Isekai anime, but this time it'll be double the amount. I won't be watching the entire series in dub since that would have been too time consuming, but I did watch clips from the show to know how different it feels from the original, and FYI, I have seen all of the shows shown in this video. For the sake of this video, I won't be talking about one specific anime for a long time, and instead I'll just quickly get through all of them, otherwise this video would be way too long. Now without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. Most of the shows that I have are all pretty popular, few from previous seasons and others are wildcards. Now let's start with Konosuba, one of the most popular comedic isekai anime to come out in a while. Not going to lie, the dub is actually pretty good, but the way the original cast bounces off of each other is missing a bit, and that in my books made its ranking go a bit lower. Due to that, I will be putting it in the B tier. Next in the line is an anime written by the author of Konosuba, and you could definitely see the resemblances and preference of the author from the character's design. Combatants Will Be Dispatched was actually pre-written before Konosuba, and the way this show has been dubbed is very much a no-go. The comedic tone has been pretty much lost, and the way they shout in the dubbed version during the fights just puts you off. I think this deserves to go in the C tier. The next one after that is Bofuri, and as much as this show is super wholesome, it also gets pretty repetitive as you keep watching it. As for the English dubbed version, it doesn't even sound or feel remotely close to the original. Some of the characters sound way more mature and others just sound weird. This definitely goes in the D tier. After that, we have Saga of Tanya the Evil, and this is actually one of the most unique isekai anime to come out in the past decade, but I can't say the same for its English dub. Tanya is supposed to be this demon in a child's body, but in the English dub, that part of her is totally unrecognizable. Also, some of the voices do not match the respective characters. I think I'll be putting it in the D tier as well. After that, we have I'm Standing on a Million Lives, and the dub of this anime is actually pretty good and decent, though the only problem is that it isn't in lip sync, which is throwing me off a lot from properly enjoying the dub, and for that I'll be putting it in the B tier. Next in line is Cautious Hero, and I wasn't expecting the dubbed version of this anime to be this extraordinary and so entertaining. I can't think of a better place to put this than in the S tier. Next is everyone's favorite Demon Lord centered anime, Overlord, and the world building in this is super interesting, but the most interesting aspect of this show, at least for me, are the characters. The show's CG might not be great, but its characters certainly are. I was very disappointed with the dub of this show, and it is an absolute garbage. None of the characters sound how they are supposed to, and instead sounds like some newbies voice acting who are obviously not fully into the role. This is definitely going in the E tier. Continuing along the lines of trashy dubbed isekai, Problem Children Are Coming From Another World, Aren't They is yet another trashy dub. If the show wasn't bad enough by itself, the dubbed version was spectacularly awful, somehow making the show even worse than it already was. I have no doubt that it is going in the E tier. Coming up is Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, and it is one of the most underrated isekai anime. The show has a bunch of people teleported to this fantasy world, and they don't remember any of their past lives and only know one thing for sure, and that is they must survive in this world. On top of being a great show, it also has one of the best isekai dubs. The English cast has done such a brilliant job at replicating the feel of the characters, all the while perfectly imitating the emotions. This is without a doubt going in the S tier. Next one is Do You Love Your Mom and Her 2-Hit Multi-Target Attacks, and I just recently realized that this show does not have an English dub, so just for that I'll make a new section and place it over there. Following that, we have Gate, which is one of my most favorite reverse isekai type of show, and I don't know why, it's just good. A lot of you might not agree, but this reverse cultural exchange between fantasy worlds and our worlds might be the future isekai trend. Though when it comes to its dub, it isn't exactly bad, but it's not great either, and hence I will put it in the B tier. After that, we have another show similar to Gate called Outbreak Company, which takes on a similar approach but also promotes the otaku culture as a form of entertainment. As weird as the show might be, the dubbed version is also very weird. The voices have almost no emotion behind them, so the studios might as well have used an AI to voice the lines. It deserves to be in the E tier. Speaking of reverse isekai, I can't go on without including Devil is a Part-Timer. I still can't believe that after 9 long years, we are finally getting a sequel. It really is great to be an isekai fan. You know how people say that they hate this or that thing some more than others? That is exactly how I feel regarding the English version of the show. I can't confirm whether I like this dubbed version or whether I hate it. It's pretty confusing, and since I can't seem to decide, I will put it in the C tier for now since it is the middle rank. Also, I would like to know if whether I should have included Jehei Will Not Be Defeated in this isekai tier list. Next up we have Conception, which is honestly one of the worst isekai anime I've ever seen. Everything about this show sucks, from the plot, the main characters to the bad CG. Though I can't say the same for its English dub. It was surprisingly great and made me like the show just a tiny bit more. You know what? I'll put it in the A tier. Speaking of bad CG, So I'm a Spider, so what has such horrible CG in it, which is really sad since I thought that the story had potential, but who could have guessed that the same studio that animated Berserk would also animate this popular light novel into an anime. If it wasn't for its bad animation quality, I would probably have enjoyed the show. I was thoroughly impressed by the way this show handled its English dub, and some voices suit specific characters more than their original voices. I was having a problem deciding whether to put it in the A tier or B tier, but for now, I think I'll keep it in the A tier. Next up we have the Misfit of Demon King Academy, and I was having a hard time deciding whether to put it in the S tier or the A tier, and ultimately I decided to put it in the A tier since this show does everything right apart from having the correct voice tone of Anos. In the dubbed version, he doesn't come out as mean but rather cocky and arrogant. Either way, his personality sounds way different from the original version. Next up we have Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, and this might confuse a lot of people because it isn't exactly an isekai, though it still follows all of the rules of an isekai. I personally think that this is an isekai similar to how Misfit of Demon King Academy is also considered as an isekai anime. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my opinion. Now when it comes to ranking the English dub, it isn't good but it barely passes as enjoyable, so I'm thinking of putting it in the C tier. Next on the list of ranking dubbed isekai anime is Recovery of an MMO Junkie, and I know what a lot of you have to say, but hold your horses. I know that it doesn't follow the basic rules of isekai, but I like how the story is based or rather inspired by the isekai genre, so I thought it would be fitting to include it in the list. And regarding the dub, it was very squirmish, and that in my mind is enough to put it in the C tier. There are not many fantasy anime with female protagonists, at least for now, but My Next Life as a Villianess is my favorite female-led isekai. I'm not really a fan of shoujo anime or reverse harem otome game-based anime, but when both of these genres were combined to form this show, I absolutely fell in love with it. With a movie already in the works, it begs the question whether this movie will also appeal to newcomers who watch anime in English dub, and my response to that is probably not. The main character, Katrina, is supposed to sound like this dense, curious character, but it doesn't really feel like that in the English version and rather feels fake. It's going in the D tier. Speaking of female-led protagonists, I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level is exactly what it sounds like with a female isekai MC, adding nothing new to the isekai genre. It's a pretty boring show in general. There really isn't much to say apart from the dub being actually good. Everything sounds natural and doesn't sound, well, how should I put this, forced. It's pretty high in my mind, so I'm thinking of putting it in the A tier. Next up we have High School Prodigies Have It Easy Even in Another World, and if you couldn't guess from the title itself, then this show is basically about a bunch of prodigies who get transported to another world and are overpowered as heck. This was kind of interesting to watch since it was fun seeing what weird ideas each prodigies are coming up with. As for the English dubbed version of this anime, it is a bit unsettling hearing certain characters with a completely different tone of voice, but sometimes the voice acting is spot on, so it's a bit of a mess. I'll put this in the B tier. Next on the list we have a more recent anime titled The World's Finest Assassin, which I personally consider to be one of the better isekai anime to come out in 2021, but as far as I can see, this has probably one of the most horrible dubs on this list. It definitely belongs in the E tier. The next one on this list is also a very generic MMORPG based type of show, and it is Didn't I Say to Make My Powers Average in the Next Life? Unlike the previous one on this list, this show has a great dub for all the right reasons, and hence it will be on the A tier. Right after that, we have Ascendance of a Bookworm, which is honestly in my top 10 favorite isekai anime of all time. I don't know why, but it makes everything so fun and has similar vibes to that of Dr. Stone, so that could be one of the reasons why I enjoyed this show so much. But when it comes to enjoying the English dub, I really didn't think it was good, and it felt like there wasn't any proper emotion behind the character's voice. I'll be putting it in the C tier. Coming up next on the list is Kenja Numago, also known as Wise Man's Grandchild, and I'm once again confused on what to rank this anime dub since the voices sound robust and robotic, but that in itself is appealing. Placing it in the D tier makes sense. Next on the list is Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. This anime has properly earned its place in the top 5 isekai anime of the decade or so, and hopefully this series will continue with the same amount of love and care that has been put into animating this series. Now as for the dub, how should I phrase it? How about it's shit? Apart from Rudis' inner voice, all the other characters sound like trash. It's going in the D tier for sure. Now we finally have Isekai Quartet, an anime that has tons of different isekai protagonists in a single show. I can't think of a better place to rank it other than the B tier since it's basically in the middle due to certain characters' voice acting being trash while others being good. Those were all the shows that I had, and as you can see there are a lot of A tier dubs as well as C and D tier dubs. I honestly didn't expect this outcome, but this just means that dubbed anime are improving, at least in the isekai genre. If one of your favorite isekai anime didn't appear in this video, then go check out part 1 of this series. Now I don't think I'll be making more of these anytime soon, but if you do want me to make more, then subscribe to the channel and smash the like button for a possible part 3. This was really fun for me to make. As always, I'll see you next time.